Recording. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Shunyavadi Pashtatar Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. All right, so Hare Krishna, welcome to our resuming of reading, discussion of the Sankalpa Kaumudi by His Holiness Srila Shivaram Swami Maharaj. The last reading we did was perhaps 2 months ago, and we left off on part 7. Now the book itself is divided into 8 parts, so we're coming towards the end of the reading of the Sankalpa Kaumudi. And part 7, which we're on, is entitled Sankalpa for Chanting with Emotion. Yep. And that has 4 chapters in. Chapter 33, the Sankalpa of Bhava Seva, and we read that. And we're on 34, Gauranga and vipralambha Seva. 35 is entitled Cultivating Vipralambha, and 36, the perfection of separation. All right? So, chapter 33 is just giving a broad introduction into the subject of feelings and emotion in our cultivation of devotional service. And specifically, the bhava or the mood is one of to cultivate for a sadhaka, not just a siddha. A siddha is naturally there, but for a sadhaka is vipralambha. That's our mood of executing devotion, our mood of chanting the holy name. So that discussion cannot go without speaking about Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So this chapter is entitled Gauranga and Vipralambha Seva. Now that chapter 34, I've got my bookmark still there, been sitting there 2 months. Now we've already started this chapter. We're about just halfway through the chapter. So I'll ask devotees what they would, one option we can just pick up exactly from where we left off. Yep. Or if we want, we can, because we haven't read for some time, we can go to the beginning of chapter 34.
Oh.
I think best to go beginning. I don't know what others think.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Mother. Happy New Year. Thank you for that.
Hare Krishna. All right. So let's give us some context. Give us some context rather than just jumping into the middle of the chapter.
Yes.
All right. So let's do that then. So I think perhaps Mother Chandravali, you have the book.
Oh, yes. We can't put
So 669. Okay. That's where we're starting.
Chapter 34.
That's it. Chapter 34.
Vipralambha Seva.
Gauranga, vipralambha Seva. Yes. So I can begin. I'll read a little bit, then you can take over, Mother Chandravali. Then. Okay. It will be impossible to cultivate Nam Sankirtan in the mood of vipralambha, which means separation, without anyone can tell us what's the word for meeting. There's 2 words. One is vipralambha, separation, and the Sanskrit term given for meeting is
Sambhog.
sambhog. Correct. Well done. Yeah. So without giving due respect to the personification and embodiment of separation to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya's associates and his subsequent followers up to our Srila Prabhupada have revealed the identity of Sri Gauranga as Krishna himself. So an introduction to the tattva of Gauranga Maharaj is giving. Yet with one voice they emphasize the difference between the mood and pastimes of these 2 forms of Godhead. Krishna and Gaura are undeniably one and the same person. In Vrindavan, blackish Krishna revels in pastimes of love, and he is the abode of sweetness and the object of affection for his servants, friends, and girlfriends. In Navadvip, fair Gaura is lost to Nam Sankirtan. He is the emblem of compassion and the leader of Vaisnavas like Advaita, Nitai, Gadadhar, Shivas. Krishna's mood is that of the supreme enjoyer. Gaura's mood is that of the supreme enjoyed, Shri Radha. Now, Maharaj hasn't mentioned it. I think he might mention it. Let's see. But there's upper sampradaya called Gauranga Nagari. You heard that? Prabhupada's mentioned it many times. So they are of the misconception that Lord Chaitanya is appearing and in the mood of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer. Yep. That's their misconception. Yeah. And therefore he's enjoying with, just like the manjaris and the gopis, they come as the Lord's, they manifest as in a sadhak form in Lord Chaitanya's associates, but their gross misconception is that Gaura is interacting with them as enjoyers of conjugal love. All right. So that's a gross misconception. So again, in Navadvip, fair Gaura is lost to Nam Sankirtan, and is the emblem of compassion and leader of Vaishnavas. Krishna's mood is that of the supreme enjoyer. Gaura's mood is of the supreme enjoyed, Shri Radha. Okay. Krishna's adopting the mood of his beloved is an extraordinary display of Tat-bhava. So, Dipsana Tat-bhava. Taking on the innermost characteristics of another person is something that actors do all the time. However, an actor's absorption in a role is temporary. A daily routine, not an identity he permanently adopts, forgetting who he really is. Just out of interest, who's Lenovo 2B125FU?
It's Nitai Mata.
Oh, okay, Nitai Mata. Okay, no problem. I was just curious who Lenovo 2B125FU was. Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, perhaps you best mute because I can hear something's going on there, shuffling people, or if you're not speaking. Yeah, but please unmute if you want to say anything. Okay. Okay, Tat-bhava. Okay. So there's a mood where you adopt someone's mood. So Maharaj has given the example of a actor who adopts a specific mood. It's interesting, you know, we have this young man coming. I don't know whether he's still coming to the temple, called Bobby. He's quite a big star. He's quite he plays a part in EastEnders. He's quite in the limelight. I don't know if he still is.
Yeah, I haven't seen him lately at the temple. I
think he's probably he's kind of hit the big time, so to speak. He's probably been smothered by the material energy.
Yeah.
But when he was coming more regularly, I was asking, he used to come to the lunch program, and I was asking about his work, and I was interested to hear what that he's an actor, and even more interested that he's an actor in a quite well-known situation thing called EastEnders. And he described to me that he had quite a tough, quite difficult last couple of days because he had to cry. He had to, as an actor. So I asked him how he did that. And he said, well, it's not so easy, but the way you do it is he had to go back and because his mother passed away.
Yeah, she
So-
was also famous.
Yeah, she was a famous actor.
Big Brother,
Yeah.
she was started. Yeah.
Yeah, famous, very famous actually, or at least in the UK. And he was saying that he would remember the passing of his mother in order to cry tears for the specific acting part. So Tat Baba, he had to tune into that mood which he felt before when his mother passed away. Anyway, side point. But so that's what's Tat Baba. And we have to do that. That's a bit more detail coming up, but we have to do that. That's the idea. Not artificially, but we have to resonate with the mood of the devotees of Krishna in the spiritual world. Yeah, it's an aspect of
Holy Prabhu,
cultivation.
waiting to come in.
Who?
Radha Samson.
I can't see anyone. Nothing's come up. Nothing's up here.
Well, she said, I'm in the waiting room.
Only okay.
Okay.
I can't see anyone in the waiting room.
Okay.
Tell her, unless she's in the wrong waiting room.
I'll tell her. Okay.
Yeah, send her the link that you have, just in case she's on the
Yeah, I
wrong.
sent her the link.
Yeah, so not in an artificial way, but the idea, this is more of a Raganuga sadhana, where one identifies with or identifies with the mood of the Lord's eternal associates by hearing about them, by hearing about their mood. It's called Tat Bhava. So Maharaj is using this in relation to Gaura in the mood of Radha. Taken on the innermost characteristics of another person is something that actors do all the time. However, an actor's absorption in a role is temporary, a daily routine, not an identity he permanently adopts, forgetting who he really is. But Krishna is different. His absorption in Radha's emotion is his life. And it is an absorption so intense that its external symptoms of identification can frighten even his closest companions. Additionally, because Radha is his unlimited spiritual potency, Krishna never gives up plumbing the depths of her love for him. And so his identity as Caitanya Mahaprabhu is also eternal, another feature of the absolute truth. Okay, any questions or comments, please feel free to ask. So there's descriptions of that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya is feeling so much separation from the Lord, he goes into these ecstatic transformations of his body. Sometimes all the limbs go into his torso. Sometimes his limbs of his body is separated by 8 inches. Sometimes blood comes from all the pores. It's quite intense description. That's what Maharaj here, that it would frighten even his closest companions. So absorbed would Gaura be in the mood of Radha. And that's why he takes on a golden complexion. Because he's just like when someone gets angry, no? They become red-faced. So Gaura, he becomes absorbed in the mood of Radha. He becomes golden. He has his golden complexion. Because that's, so absorbed. So he's plumbing the depths of her emotions. Yeah. Thus, there are 2 forms of the Supreme Lord. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality, Servitor of Godhead. Any luck with Mother Shyama Sundari?
No, I text her, but she hasn't replied. I
Yeah,
sent her the link again.
yeah. Normally it comes up on the screen. I can see it quite clearly, and I just have to click it. Nothing's there.
Okay.
Okay. Krishna is complete with his consort Radha in 2 forms. They constantly meet to enjoy conjugal love. As Gauranga, Krishna is complete with the mood of his consort, and in one form he tastes the mellows separation. He tastes the mellows separation from Krishna. Thus Krishna manifests himself as the Supreme Lord and his own devotee. Yeah. In his commentary to Chaitanya Bhagavat, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur summarizes these truths of the divine couple and Gauranga. He writes, quote, in separate forms, Radha and Krishna, the shelter of love and its object, enjoy the bliss of their union, and in so doing reveal to the world unlimited pastimes of sweetness. The combined forms of Radha and Krishna, the combined form of Radha and Krishna, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, is the shelter of the fallen, the emblem of compassion, and the personification of service in separation. All right, so he's the shelter of the fallen, he's the emblem of compassion, and the personification of service in separation. Okay. Readers may do well to note the ontological difference between Krishna and Gaura, as pointed out in the verse above. Krishna, as the Supreme Lord, is called Vishaya because he is the object and enjoyer of a devotee's worship. So he is the person who is being worshipped. He is accepting the worship. So that's called Vishaya. Like Srimati Radharani, a devotee is the Ashraya. So the person who has that love is his abode of that love. That's Radharani, a devotee who is the shelter of that love. Okay, I always forget the difference between these two. So I'm trying to say it so I can remember it myself again. So Vishaya, someone could tell us what the Vishaya is? Trying to press the book. Go on.
Is the enjoyer?
Yeah, the person who's receiving the love, the
Yes.
person who's the object of the love, okay? And then we have the Ashraya.
Is the one who's feeling that love for the enjoyer.
Yeah, the one who's the abode of that love and is offering it to the beloved, okay? Although he is Krishna, Caitanya Mahaprabhu does not take on the role of the Vishaya, all right? So he's not taken on that role that Krishna does. Yeah, he remains the Ashraya, one who loves Krishna.
Is it because he's in Radharani's mood?
Yeah, that's it. So he's in the mood of the Ashraya. So remember that upper Sampadaya. Oh, actually, my Guru Maharaj just mentioned it's coming up. Okay. Consequently, it is a great offense to intrude upon Lord Chaitanya's identity by attempting to impose upon him the role of the Vishaya, like Krishna, yeah, who's playing the flute and attracting the gopis. That's not the mood of Gaura. Yeah. Unfortunately, even at the time of Vrindavan Das Thakur, the first biographer of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, certain sects were mistakenly worshipping Gaura as the enjoyer and not as the enjoyed. All right. So they have their do you remember when we read that book? We went through the upper Sampadayas. Remember we had those classes? It's quite interesting. And they have as a sadhana these Gauranga Nagaris that they meditate as, Lord Chaitanya has an eternal form in Svetadweep. And they meditate themselves as being, because when Gaura goes out, he performs Sankirtan. So all the devotees come out of their houses to see him and to take darshan of him. So they meditate that they are the wives of the Lord's associate, that they are the wives and they're in that's their so Raganuga sadhan. Anyway, less be said about them, Raj.
they are the wives of those devotees. They meditate.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they supposedly cultivate, and and that he is actually Krishna, you know, and the wives are relating to Gauda like he's Krishna.
Okay.
Okay?
Kind of gopis, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and Maharaj says, no, sorry.
I was saying, forgetting that Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he himself came as a devotee.
Yeah, that's it. That's the point. That's the essence. Yes, well said. He's not come. He's come as someone who is who is devoted to Krishna. Although he is Krishna, but he's not in that mood. He's in the mood of, Ashraya, not Vishaya.
Yeah.
Ashraya. That's the mood of Gauda. See, these things are important because if we don't get this right, then we cannot taste the actual mellow rasa. Actually, if we misunderstand the mood of Gauda, then we cannot fully appreciate. Yeah. Real Vaishnavas understand that Caitanya Mahaprabhu is both the personification and the teacher of service in separation. He is the vipralambha-vigraha. So vigraha means form, okay? So he is the form of separation. The very form of love in separation. That same mode of worship is a life force of the Lord's followers. So as Gauda's mood is in, he's teaching us that same mood. Yeah. Vipralambha, as aspiring for and hankering for. For example, Gaura Kishodas Babaji, the personification of renunciation, is also referred to as vipralambha-vigraha, one who is submerged in the mellows of the expansive ocean of separation. Similarly, in the way that people become strong by eating grains, Gaudiya Vaishnavas become spiritually fit by hearing of the Lord's moods of separation and by becoming one with them. Right? So it doesn't mean ekatvam, oneness, but fully identifying in the same way. By hearing about Gauda's mood of separation, we also learn tat bhava, to relate to and develop that same mood. Not trying to imitate Gauda, but that's the mood he's teaching. He's coming to teach a mood of devotion. I think I mentioned in one class, I mentioned that Gauda's not coming. In one sense, he's coming to teach to chant the holy name, but he's not teaching us how to dance. He is in one sense. He's not teaching us how to play cartels. He's teaching us the mood of how we should worship Krishna. Although we can learn how to dance by
we can follow him because he was doing all that.
Yeah, but the main thing is coming to give, and the main thing is coming to show is this mood of vipralambha.
Yeah. Yes.
This is what he's come to teach. Yeah. Come on then. Okay, I just read a little bit more, then hand it over to just look a little bit. Looks like Shama Sundara is out there somewhere in the.
I know, she's sending me, it's telling me I'm in the waiting room.
Let me just check
I don't know
again.
what to do. I've sent it again. Can any one of you send it to her? Tabanga, can you send it?
The link sent?
No, I sent the link twice, but I don't know whether I'm sending something wrong.
Yeah, unless I'm doing something wrong, but I can't see. I mean, I've got a full screen here.
I'm in the waiting room.
No one else is there.
She must be doing the wrong link. She must be like, is she waiting for the host to start the meeting, or she's in the waiting room?
She said she's in the waiting room. Twice she sent me, and we're in the waiting room. I'm in the waiting room.
Maybe she is in the Bhagavad Gita one.
No, I sent her Sankalpa Kaumudi one.
Anyway, what can we do?
Is that the last thing is 8536, right? The meeting code?
Well, the one you got.
5836.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I've sent her the right one. Okay, can't do anything.
Okay, let's continue. Okay, good. Loving separation was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. He had no other. Kaviraj Goswami discloses this truth in his biography of the Lord and hints to the devotees that his perfection is to be realized by embracing the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll just quote the translation. He quotes some verses here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verses. I'll just read the translation. Please hear faithfully this description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic emotions. Thus you will come to know of his ecstatic love, and ultimately you will achieve love of Godhead. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna, his condition exactly corresponded to that of the gopis in Vrindavan after Krishna's departure from Mathura. Excuse me, Krishna's departure for Mathura. The lamentation of Srimati Radharani when Uddhava visited Vrindavan gradually became a feature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental madness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emotions exactly correspond to those of Srimati Radharani when she met Uddhava. The Lord always conceived of himself in her position and sometimes thought that he was Srimati Radharani herself. Such is the state of transcendental madness. Why is it difficult to understand? When one is highly elevated in love of Krishna, he becomes transcendently mad and talks like a madman or mad woman. Yeah, just like Radharani speaking to the bee. Yeah, that's seen as an example of Divyan Mada, divine madness. All right. Any questions or reflections, please feel free to ask.
From these last slokas, it's all
Yeah.
about separation, isn't it? The mood to develop, feel separate.
Yeah. Well, this whole chapter is, or this whole part of Sankalpa Kaumudi, these are 4 chapters are all about that. Because it's very important for a sadhaka. It's very important that we learn this art of cultivating, feeling and cultivating this mood of separation. Yeah.
That's
And then if any,
right.
huh?
That's the mood of gopis.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the mood of the gopis, and that's the mood if you read any of the prayers by Rupa Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. It's all in this mood of anchoring. I don't know if any of you watched that. I did that video of a bhajan by Rupa Goswami. Caitanya Panjika. Caitanya Panjika. I do these little videos from my
I
own.
do send it to everybody.
Yeah, so that's an example of Rupa Goswami praying for service to the Lord. I'm just editing another one at the moment, which I did some time ago. I'm just redoing it, called Utkalika Valari by Rupa Goswami. It's such a heart-wrenching calling out to Radha and Krishna. It's really beautiful in one sense, but it's really heart-wrenching. Rupa Goswami is offering these prayers to obtain the service of Radha and Krishna. And we can read these. It's good to read these things and you pick up on the mood, not in imitation. We're sadhakas, but we're hearing the heartfelt disposition of perfected devotees like Rupa Goswami playing the role of sadhakas. Yeah, they are playing the role of aspiring for perfection to teach us. And then there's other books you could read about it. But anyway, okay. Where did I read? I'll read this a little bit more, then you can take over, Mother Chandravali. Both Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati emphasized that Lord Chaitanya never thought, I am Krishna. Rather, he always thought, I am Krishna's servant. And generally, I am Shri Radha. Yeah. The Lord's Abhiman means self-conception, as Radha was so intense that his blackish complexion was covered by Srimati Radharani's golden complexion. That external transformation is an indication of just how strong his internal identification was or is. After all, it is well known that emotions bring about physical transformations. This is also the case with the Lord. Okay, so you can pray to Lord Gauranga, please, my Lord, please teach me the ways of separation. Please teach me how to cry for the Lord, you know, when you're praying to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. All right, any questions or comments? Otherwise, you can read on. Chandravali. Yeah, it's nice to hear about Gaura, isn't it? Very important. All right, we're on the 266.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Unless we don't feel the separation from the Lord, we can't go home back to Godhead. Is that right?
No, because what does that mean? That means you don't want to go back. If you're
Yeah.
not feeling separated from that place, that
Yeah.
means you don't really want it.
Yeah, this is it. That's what I just
Yeah.
want to confirm that, Prabhu.
Yeah. It means you
Mm.
don't really want to go back. You have to really, to actually go back to Godhead, you have to really want to go back, that to the extent that you're crying tears of separation.
Yeah, just like George Harrison said, I want to be with you.
Yeah,
That's
that's why that song is so amazing.
amazing. Yeah,
That song is so amazing.
yeah.
That song is all about separation. Prabhupada liked it. I mean, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but that song, I was working in a factory unit, saving money to go to India, you know.
Okay.
And I used to play the radio all day. That was our only source of, I don't know, to make the hours, you know. And this song came up. My sweet Lord, I really want to know your Lord. And I really kind of, and reading here, Tat Bhava. I didn't know anything about Krishna. But that I was in my heart was like stirring with all these emotions, and tears were coming from my eyes. And I was really, I didn't know where those emotions come from. I didn't know even who Krishna was, but I shared the emotion of that song, and it left a mark in my heart. And so, yeah. So that song is an example of separation. It takes so much to, you know the song.
Yeah.
So,
It directly hits.
huh?
It hits the nail, you know, straight away. It's like you nail it there. Yeah.
My sweet Lord. So,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have to be like, I mean, I don't know, George Harrison. I don't know what stage of bhakti he was at, but we can all cultivate this. We can all experience this. And even as we know, sometimes you hear in classes that if you can't feel separation, at least feel separation from feeling separation.
Yeah. You cry, they're saying that you can't cry.
Yeah.
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 My sweet Lord. Okay.
Separation is a big thing because, you know, when you're doing devotional service, like reading, chanting, hearing, services, you don't like, I don't know what you think of separation. You're just constantly doing things. Okay, I'm reading, I'm chanting, I'm doing this, you know.
Yeah, but that's what this is teaching us. We have to stop. We have to cultivate. We have to meditate on this mood, and not just doing service without any bhava, without any mood. You know, it should be there.
Yeah, you had to connect it. I think that's what they're saying. Otherwise, it will be like a 8 to 5 job that you go and do.
Job,
Yeah, especially when it comes to japa. That's the time we can sit down and I mean, a translation is one of asking for service.
Mm.
It's a one of aspiration, calling out to the Lord. So that's an ideal time. But yeah, I mean, right. I mean, I can relate to that as well. When we're doing different services, doing this and that, we can often be unmindful of this mood because, we're having a good time. We're eating with devotees, we're in kirtan.
Yeah.
It's all kind of upbeat, and but let's not forget. Let's not forget that when we're in kirtan, we should be meditating as someone aspiring for union with the Lord, to actually connect to the Lord.
So basically, whole day, every moment, wherever you are, it should be connected with the Lord. Then that is how we can cultivate this separation.
Yeah, that's it. We always want to be. We always feel we want to connect with the Lord. That's vipralambha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Mother Chandra, would you like to read on 672 at the bottom, an additional feature?
I'll read a bit and let's see how it goes because I've got a bit of a cough as well. So if I can't, then...
Okay, let's see how we go.
Okay. An additional feature of Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mood of worship should be noted, well noted. While Radha and Krishna's pastimes of meeting and separation take place within the context of the mellow of conjugal love, Lord Chaitanya's savoring of the pastime of meeting and separation are within a different context. They are based on mellows of servitude, dasya bhava. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Gaya to perform the rites for his deceased father, he met Ishwapuri and took initiation from him, received the 10-syllable mantra as his worshipable deity. After meditating on the mantra, the Lord became emotional and began to weep, roll in the dust and search for Krishna. In separation, he called out, "My dear Krishna, O Father, O Hari, my life and soul, where did you go after stealing my heart?" Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati points out that addressing Krishna as father and so thinking of himself as son reflects Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood of pure servitude, dasya. Moreover, in this verse and the ones that follow it in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Lord Chaitanya called out after Krishna, who had disappeared from the Lord's meditation and stolen his heart. In this first expression of ecstatic separation, the Lord lost complete control of himself, and only with great difficulty did his suppressed students pacify him and straighten his disheveled appearance. In other words, Lord Chaitanya's first display of ecstatic ecstasy was one of separation.
All right. So questions there? Seems an important point here. I didn't quite grasp it myself here. While Radha and Krishna's pastimes of meeting and separation take place in the context of the mellow of conjugal love, Lord Chaitanya's savoring of the pastimes of meeting and separation are within the context, a different context. They are based on the mellows of servitude, dasya bhava. So again, let's not make the mistake of the Gauranga Nagaris. The Lord, generally, the Lord is in the mood of dasya. He's showing us as sadhakas, as devotees, that we are servants of the Lord. Yeah, that's the overall mood. Anyway, okay, you can continue, yeah.
In the ensuing years, both in Navadvip and Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued to exhibit feelings of separation from Krishna, the emotions increasing in intensity in his final pastimes. the Lord was subservient to his emotions. He was not in control of them. At night, the pains of separation were so intense that he could not sleep. He would feel so uncomfortable that he would rise from his bed and then he would lie down again, but unable to sleep. He would again rise and sit, staring off into the far distance from where he hoped Krishna would momentarily return. In the way that enacting transcendental pastime is an eternal feature of Krishna, separation from those pastimes and their synopsis is eternally present in Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And as much as the Lord was eager to taste ecstasy, he was equally eager to have others do so, as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote.
Just read the translation.
Yeah. Let my consciousness, which is like the honeybee, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has just now appeared as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach the ancient system of devotional service to himself. This system had almost been lost due to the influence of time.
Unquote.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared not only to relish love for Krishna, but to teach that eternal system of devotion, a sadhana which had almost been lost due to the influence of time. Moreover, the Lord was not discriminating in his distribution of love for Krishna. Whoever was willing to take it could have it. Although spontaneous loving devotion was a careful guarded secret of the Vedas, a perfection attained by the most attentive sadhaka. Lord Chaitanya, the proprietor of Vaishnava Bhakti, was willing to give it to anyone. Overcome by the kindly emotions of Srimati Radharani, Lord Chaitanya was not only the personification of vipralambha, but the personification of audarya, magnanimity. In Rupa Goswami's word, he is Mahavadanyaya, the most incarnation. I think I'll let you read. My throat is funny.
Okay. So, any comments, questions about that part? Okay. So he's experiencing that mood himself, but he's coming to give that mood, and he's coming and giving out, as we know, a proprietor of Raj Bhakti, especially in Lord Chaitanya's personal presence. I'm just reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita at the moment, and we read descriptions of his indiscriminately giving out love of Godhead. Anyone who comes in contact with him becomes overwhelmed with ecstatic love, crying, rolling on the ground, etc. But and that's specifically that is quite unique. It's not something that, as we may experience, it's there today. Although we are taking part in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, and in one sense it's non-different. But in another sense, we've been given a process that we have to surrender to, which is given by Rupa Goswami from following the activities of sadhana, becoming purified, and then developing this love of bhava and prema. Although we do get splashed with some of the wonderful emotions that come from advanced devotees. You understand what I'm saying here is that it's not exactly the same now as it was during Caitanya Mahaprabhu's personal presence, but still it's available. We just have to follow the process which Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami gave us, All right. Any questions on that? Okay. Srimati Radharani is always eager to increase service to Krishna. The more servants, the more and more varied and loving devotion to offer Krishna. This is always her desire. And when Krishna enters the mood of his beloved, he is overcome by the inclination to distribute devotion to himself freely and indiscriminately. The obvious question arises, by which sadhana would people attain this treasure? Of course, we all know that answer today. What's that sadhana? Chanting Hare Krishna. Specifically by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When Krishna appeared over 5,000 years ago, he did so to savor the unique mellows of loving exchange facilitated by the background setting of the material world. But he had another reason, to display spontaneous loving devotion and to teach the path to it. So the path to spontaneous loving devotion is called, and anyone except Chandravali, well, anyone, there's only two of you here. It's called Raganuga.
You said
Raganuga,
so you can know it's Raganuga.
Raganuga Sudden. Krishna thought, quote, by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Raj, all right, so hearing about the pure, that's called Raganuga Sudden. Yeah. By hearing about the pure love of the residents of Raj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. It can be quite mystifying what is Raganuga Sudden, but that is an aspect of Raganuga Sudden, is that you're hearing about the love that the residents have for Krishna. And that's what is inspiring you in your devotional practice. That's called Raganuga Sudden. There's more to it than that, but that's an aspect of it. Okay. However, contrary to Krishna's plan, people did not fully understand his purpose, his pastimes, or his teachings to Arjuna and Uddhava. Okay, so that was his purpose, but people didn't get it. Although by hearing Bhagavad Gita, some people were inspired to take up devotional service, they all followed the path of regulated sadhana that did not lead to Vraj. Okay. Now, we're practicing sadhana, but we're practicing sadhana with the goal of obtaining Krishna in Raj. All right. We're very clear of who Krishna is. We're very clear of the relationships with Krishna. And we're aspiring for that. So, but Maharaj is speaking the sadhana, which takes one to Vaikuntha, or the worship of Vishnu. Yeah. They followed the path of regulated sadhana that did not lead to Raj. It leads to Vaikuntha. Okay. Thus, Krishna contemplated coming again, introducing Nam Sankirtan as a religion for the age. He would also distribute the four mellows of service to Krishna. In these ways, he would make the world dance in ecstasy. But Krishna was experienced. He had already tried to teach Raj Bhakti in Dwapara Yuga. That's when Krishna appeared, yeah? And it was unlikely that the less qualified people in Kali Yuga would understand his intention. He had to do something different. Yeah, so what did he do? He became a devotee. Yeah, to show. The Lord considered that by shedding his divinity for the role of a devotee, he would be more successful in teaching bhakti. Example was always better than precept. Okay, so better than speaking is actually doing. He thought, unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. And to teach spontaneous devotion to himself, he would have to come himself. His incarnations could re-establish religious principles, kill demons, and shelter devotees, but only he could teach and distribute Raj Bhakti. His incarnations could not. So Lord Nrsingadev cannot give you Raj Bhakti. He can It can help to overcome the obstacles to obtaining it, I guess. But Lord Ram can't give you Raj Bhakti. Yeah. Lord Varaha can't give you Raj Bhakti. Lord Buddha cannot give you Raj Bhakti. Yeah.
Because they didn't cry. They didn't cry. Only Mahaprabhu came and taught us.
Yeah,
like,
only,
teaching.
yeah, because it's only Krishna himself can actually give. Yeah. With that intention, Krishna appeared as Caitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute access to loving devotion through the medium of Nam Sankirtan. While doing so, he simultaneously fulfilled his inner purposes by assuming the role of Radha, nearby, God, time goes so quick, nearby tasting the three features of their loving exchanges. These three confidential reasons for Caitanya Mahaprabhu's descent were disclosed by Sarup Damodar and recorded by Kaviraj Goswami. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she feels when she experiences his love, and the happiness when she feels to realize the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord, richly endowed with her emotions, appears from the womb of Srimati Sachidevi as the moon appears from the ocean. In reading this verse, one would be prompted to ask, in addition to chanting Hare Krishna, was there anything else that would enable devotees to easily enter the realm of Raj Bhakti and Mahaprabhu to access the depths of Radha's heart? Our acharyas answer this question in this way. So, yeah, so anything, is it just chanting? Is there anything else? Corresponding to a mantra is the mood and purpose for which it is chanted. All right. My Guru Maharaj is mentioning this again and again and again. This point he mentions just of late. Yeah. Corresponding to a mantra is the mood and purpose for which it is chanted. By adopting and entering the divine mood of service and separation, Krishna would fulfill both purposes at once. All right. So if you're chanting Hare Krishna and you're not cultivating the mood to be with Krishna, then you won't go to Krishna because you don't want it. It's not just rattling off a mantra. It has to be the mood that the mantra is chanting in. You have to be chanting with specific. It has to be a deep-seated heart request while you're chanting that mantra. Yeah. Corresponding to a mantra is the mood and purpose for which it is chanted. So we should understand what our goal is, as sadhya, yeah, and chant in order to desire to obtain it. Yeah. I just finished this little section here. With a clearly laid out strategy, Krishna again appeared. This time, is it okay if we go over a couple of minutes?
Yes.
Hope you don't mind. We can celebrate the new year by going over 2 or 3 minutes because it comes to the end of a section.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, with a clearly laid out strategy, Krishna again appeared. This time he was endowed with Radha's sentiments and complexion. He distributed the nectar of Nam Sankirtan in the Rajarasi's mood of separation. And he simultaneously relished the bhavas of his devotees, primarily the Madhurya Ras of Srimati Radharani. Radha's mood of separation had reached its ecstatic climax when Krishna left for Mathura. Radha literally went mad. Speaking to her intimate friends, Srimati Radharani would reveal her heart, which was like a storm-tossed ocean, sometimes displaying happiness, sometimes despair. To a greater or lesser degree, Caitanya Mahaprabhu was always absorbed in similar moods. During the day, his mind was distracted by his associates, and so his consciousness veered towards the external world. But if there was a lapse in that company, then his mind would spontaneously merge into ecstatic emotion, which was either partially external or completely internal. Krishna Kaviraj Goswami says that Lord Chaitanya exhibited 3 states of consciousness, Bhavamagna, Ajabhaya Spruti, and Bhaya Spruti. So totally merged in ecstatic emotion. That was generally at night. Partial external consciousness and full external consciousness. At night with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, Lord Chaitanya was free of all the inhibitions, and he let loose ecstasies which sometimes seemed like wild, insane performances. And while such confidential exploration of Radha's innermost being was the sole prerogative of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing of it along with the Lord's teachings gives a template for the thoughtful practitioner's bhajan. Caitanya Mahaprabhu did not want these followers to imitate him. He wanted them to understand his message and apply it in their spiritual lives. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur summarized the purpose of Caitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance as the enjoyer and teacher of vipralambha Seva in this way. And we're finished with this quote from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose appearance was it, of this appearance, just recently. The transcendental symptom that Gaura Shundara exhibited after meditating on his mantra are indicative of his feelings of separation from Krishna. In spite of being with Krishna, he sometimes felt he had not achieved him, so shedding tears became his principal activity. Feelings of separation alone are the means and nourishment for some sambhoga or union. All right? So without feeling it, you're not going to meet Krishna. Yeah, without cultivating this mood of separation, there will be no sambhoga.
Yeah.
In order to remove the illusions born of the false conclusions of those who accept some sambhoga rather than vipralambha as their sadhana. So there are some Vaisnavas who profess that that's their mood. We are with Krishna. As their sadhana, the Lord, who proudly considered himself a servant, Dasya, afflicted with separation from Krishna, preached that the mood of separation is the only means of achieving the goal of life. Actually, the Lord descended from the spiritual world, Goloka, simply to preach the glories of the shining, exalted mood of separation from Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Goloka Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. Yeah. That bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur is all about separation from the Lord. My Lord, I was just drinking poison, etc. Okay, so we're pressed the pause button there. Next week, we'll be speaking about the Shik Ashtakam. Now it speaks about the different levels of devotional attainment. Okay, so thank you for joining us. And I guess everyone's out reveling on a New Year's Day, so not many people, but if you've listened to the recording, thank you for listening to the recording. And if you like it, give a thumbs up. Okay, Hari. So see you on Wednesday for Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
Wednesday.
Oh, feeling
It is a
separation to Wednesday.
class for the new year.
We will feel separation from reading.
I know. For this year, we have to try to feel separation now, somehow.
Yes.
It's just too confusing. You
Hare
have to
Krishna,
chant
Hare
here the mantra. You have to chant here. Be in the mood of separation. I thought life was easy. You just chant, but there's a lot to do.
No, you have to, yeah.
Okay.
So you got some homework to do. So your homework is to
Concentrate
chant
on
in that mood. Yeah.
I think
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So don't forget your homework. Hare Bol.